Krishna आधा मेरा प्रति बोलो कृपा कैले कृष्णा आधा मेरा प्रति किला गिया नीले ताकुरो बेगति कृपा कैले कृष्णा दा मेरा प्रति खिला गया नीले ताकुरो बेगति कृपा कैले कृष्णा दा मेरा प्रति खिला गया नीले ताकुरो बेगति कृपा कैले कृष्णा आछे किछु कार्य तवाए अनुमने आछे किछु कार्य तवाए अनुमने नाहे के नो अनिबे नाहे उग्रस्थाने नाहे के नो अनिबे नाहे उग्रस्थाने गुरु कृपा कैले कृष्णा रजतमो गुणे रसबाई याचना रजतमो गुणे रसबाई याचना वासुदेवा कथा रुचि नाहे से प्रसन्ना वासुदेवा कथा रुचि नाहे से प्रसन्ना गुरु कृपा कैले कृष्णा तवे यदि तव कृपा होए अहित की तवे यदि तव कृपा होए अहित की सकली संभव होए तुम्ही से कौतुकी सकली संभव होए तुम्ही से कौतुकी गुरु कृपा कैले कृष्णा कि बावे बुझले तारा बुझे से रसा कि बावे बुझले तारा बुझे से रसा हेत कृपा करो प्रभु करी निज बसा कृपा करो प्रभु करी निज बसा गुरु कृपा कैले कृष्णा तुम्हारा इच्छा सबा होए माया बसा तुम्हारा इच्छा सबा होए माया बसा तुम्हारा इच्छा नाशा माया परशा तुम्हारा इच्छा नाशा माया परशा गुरु कृपा कैले कृष्णा तव इच्छा होए यदि तदेरा उद्धार तव इच्छा होए यदि तदेरा उद्धार बुझिबे निश्चय तबे कथा से तुम बुझिबे निश्चय तबे कथा से तो बोरो कृपा कैले कृष्णा भगवतेर कथा से तव भगवतेर कथा से तव धीर हैया सुने यदि काने बार बार धीर हैया सुने यदि काने बार बार बोरो कृपा कैले कृष्णा रजस मोहते तबे पाइबे निस्तार रजस मोहते तबे पाइबे निस्तार हृदय भद्र सते गुचिबे कृपा कैले कृष्णा की कोरे बुझबो कथा भरोसे चाहिए कोरे बुझबो कथा भरोसे चाहिए क्षुद्रामी नहीं ना कोनो शक्ति नहीं क्षुद्रामी बोरो कृपा कैले कृष्णा अत चैन चो प्रभु कथा बोली बरे अत चैन चो प्रभु कथा बोली बरे ये तो मारा इच्छा प्रभु करो बारे ये तो मारा इच्छा प्रभु करो बोरो कृपा कैले कृष्णा अखिल जगत गुरु वचन से हमार अखिल जगत गुरु वचन से हमार अलंकृत कोरी बारा शमत तुम्हार अलंकृत कोरी बारा शमत तुम्हार बोरो कृपा कैले कृष्णा तव कृपा हले मोरा कथा शुद्ध हवे तव कृपा हले मोरा कथा शुद्ध हवे सुनिया सबर शोक दुख जे गुचिबे सुनिया शोक दुख जे गुचिबे बोरो कृपा कैले कृष्णा अनिया चो यदि प्रभु हमारे नाचते अनिया चो यदि प्रभु हमारे नाचते नाचाओ नाचाओ प्रभु नाचाओ से मते नाचाओ नाचाओ प्रभु नाचाओ से मते काष्ठेरा पुतलियता नाचाओ से मते काष्ठेरा पुतलियता नाचाओ से मते बोरो कृपा कैले कृष्णा भक्ति नाय वेदनाय नामे खूब दरो भक्ति नाय वेदनाय नामे खूब धरो भक्ति नाय वेदनाय नामे खूब धरो वेदांत नाम एवे सार्थक करो
भक्ति वेदांत नाम एवे सार्थक करो
भक्ति वेदांत नाम एवे सार्थक करो
भक्ति वेदांत नाम एवे सार्थक करो
गुरु कृपा करे कृष्णा मेरा प्रति लागिया नीलेता गुरु बेनती
गुरु कृपा करे कृष्णा मेरा प्रति लागिया नीलेता गुरु बेनती
गुरु कृपा करे कृष्णा
गुरु कृपा करे कृष्णा
गुरु कृपा करे कृष्णा
गुरु कृपा करे कृष्णा
जय प्रभुपदा 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 जय प्रभुपदा
जय प्रभुपदा 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 जय प्रभुपदा
जय जय गुरुदेव प्रभुपाद गुरुदेव प्रभुपाद
जय जय गुरुदेव प्रभुपाद गुरुदेव प्रभुपाद
निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल
निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजना यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजना यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजना यमुना तीरावनचार्यम् जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय राधा वृंदावन चंद्र राधा वृंदावन चंद्र राधे जय राधे जय राधे जय राधे जय श्री राधे जय निताय गौरंग निताय गौरंग निताय गौरंग जय निताय गौरंग जय वृंदावन धाम वृंदावन धाम वृंदावन धाम जय वृंदावन धाम जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की इस्कॉन फाउंडर आचार्य बीबीटी फाउंडर आचार्य सेवियर ऑफ द होल वर्ल्ड विश्व गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की ताय गौर प्रेमानंद। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Today is the Sannyasa smriti. Today is the day on which Srila Prabhupada accepted sannyasa order in the year 1959. So we'll read some of the pastimes related to this particular event today. We'll start with prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktaranda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada Sannyasa smriti. Interaction with Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur during Srila Prabhupada's Grihastha days. Excerpts from our Srila Prabhupada, a friend to all, compiled by Mula Prakriti Devi Mataji. Collections by Shripad Nayanananda Das Babaji Maharaj, a god brother of Srila Prabhupada. The following recollection was recorded in an interview on March 9th, 1999. Since that time, Shripad Nayanananda Das Babaji Maharaj has left this world. Srila Nayanananda Das Babaji Maharaj recollects, the last year that our Gurudeva, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, organized and performed Gauramandal Parikrama, thousands and thousands of pilgrims assembled at our Champahati Mandir. There was a whole village of tents in all directions. On the afternoon of the last day, one of our god brothers had just arrived in Navadvipa, having returned from London by boat. He had gone to preach but had returned without meeting with full success. In the evening, while Guru Maharaj was giving pravachan, he explained that it was his earnest desire that the teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu should be spread in the Western countries. He told, how it was the vision of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur that this would happen. And it was also the last request of his mother, Srimati Bhagavati Devi, to him before she left this world. Consequently, he had been willing to take the lifeblood of Gaudiya Mutt in funds to send devotees there to preach. But so far, these attempts had been largely unsuccessful. At this moment in his talk, I noticed that something very mysterious was happening. Guru Maharaj was looking out at large crowd of devotees, especially in front where all the sannyasis and brahmacharis in red cloth were there. Then he turned his head and looked over to his left side, where I was standing. He was looking intently at someone and became silent for a moment. I happened to look behind me and I clearly saw that the person with whom he was making eye contact was Abhaya Charanarvinda Prabhu. I thought that they were looking at each other in a special way. Then Guru Maharaj again addressed the audience in front of him and said, "But I have a prediction. However long in the future it may be, I predict that one of my disciples will cross the ocean and that devotee will bring back the whole world." I remembered this incident, and Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj truly made it come to pass exactly in this way. One more. Srila Prabhupada, a humble Grihastha Vaishnava. Srila Nayanananda Das Babaji Maharaj recollects, Abhay Prabhu behaved very humbly to everyone, even though he was senior in many ways to most of the people who came later during those 11 years. He would always pay dandavat to others just because they had taken initiation first. Though he had made the devoted connection with our Gurudeva first, he didn't formally take initiation until later on because of his family and his business. I clearly recall how very serious, simple and humble he was. Sometimes when I was in Calcutta, I would go to visit him at Sita Kant Banerjee Lane, where he had his home and chemical business. Satprasangananda Brahmachari, who is 93 years old now, and Satisha Prabhu, who is 73, used to accompany me when I visited his house on Sita Kant Banerjee Lane. He was very affectionate to us. He always welcomed guests into his home. He opened his house to any Vaishnavas from the Gaudiya Mutt, whether they were his god brothers or young brahmacharis who weren't god brothers or hadn't even been initiated. Srila Prabhupada quits home to be a Vanaprastha. Excerpts from Transcendental Diary, Volume 2 by Hari Shauri Das. Hari Shauri Das writes, "You know my story, T or me?" He, Srila Prabhupada, asked me. "No, Srila Prabhupada," I said, intrigued and eager to hear. He gave a chuckle. "My wife, she was fond of drinking tea. So one day I told her, either you give up your tea drinking or give up your husband." "Oh, then I will give up my husband." Of course, she thought that I was joking, he went on. But a few days later, I left house without telling anyone. I borrowed 10 rupees from my friend and bought a train ticket and never returned. "Where did you go?" "Somewhere, anywhere," he laughed. He never saw his wife again. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur urges Srila Prabhupada to take sannyas. Excerpts from Srila Prabhupada Leelamrita Volume 1 by Sri Satswarup Das. One night Abhay had a striking dream. The same dream he had several times before during his days as a householder. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati appeared just as Abhay had known him, the tall, scholarly sannyasi coming directly from the spiritual world, from Krishna's personal entourage. He called to Abhay and indicated that he should follow. Repeatedly he called and motioned. He was asking Abhay to take sannyas. "Come," he urged, "become a sannyasi." Abhay awoke in a state of wonder. He thought of this instruction as another feature of the original instruction Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati had given him at their first meeting in Calcutta. The same instruction that his spiritual master had later solidified in a letter. Become an English preacher and spread Krishna consciousness throughout the Western world. Sannyasa was for that end. Otherwise, why would his spiritual master have asked him to accept it? Abhay reasoned that his spiritual master was saying, now take sannyas and you will actually be able to accomplish this mission. Formerly, the time was not right. Abhay deliberated cautiously. By accepting sannyas, a Vaishnava dedicates his body, mind and words totally to the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, renouncing all other engagements. He was doing that already. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati had offered sannyasa to his leading disciples so that they could continue his mission. They hadn't done it. Preaching in the West had proved perilous even for the Gaudiya Mutt's most recognized sannyasis. How could he, a mere householder, presume he could succeed where the others had failed? He was hesitant. The helpless, incapable feeling he had expressed in his Viraha Ashtaka was there. But now his spiritual master was beckoning him over all other considerations, even over natural humility. Now, although he was elderly and alone, the desire to preach just as his spiritual master had preached remained within him. A fierce though sometimes quietly expressed determination. The Vedic standard and the example set by the previous acharyas was that if one wanted to lead a preaching movement, sannyasa was required. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta had taken sannyas to facilitate his missionary work. Lord Chaitanya had taken sannyas to further the Sankirtana movement. Of course, Lord Chaitanya was the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but when his young students had been disrespectful towards him, treating him as an ordinary man, he had taken sannyas. Because a sannyasi is automatically respected, Lord Chaitanya's acceptance of sannyas was a calculated tactic. As soon as he began traveling throughout India as a sannyasi, he immediately attracted thousands of followers to the Sankirtana movement. Abhay turned to Keshav Maharaj in Mathura. Keshav Maharaj told Abhay to take sannyas immediately. After corresponding with Tirtha Maharaj, Abhay had felt some uncertainty about accepting sannyas. Now that he was being encouraged so strongly, he resisted. But Keshav Maharaj was insistent. Srila Prabhupada, I was sitting alone in Vrindavan, writing. My god brother insisted to me, Bhaktivedanta Prabhu, you must do it. Without accepting the renounced order of life, nobody can become a preacher. So he insisted. Not he insisted, practically my spiritual master insisted. He wanted me to become a preacher. So he forced me through this god brother. You accept. So unwillingly I accepted. On October 21st, 1968, on the occasion of the disappearance day of Srila Prabhupada's Sannyasa Guru, Bhakti Pragnana Keshav Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada recalls in ISKCON, Seattle. Srila Prabhupada, one has to accept the renounced order from another person who is in renounced order. So I never thought that I shall accept this renounced order of life. In my family life, when I was in the midst of my wife and children, sometimes I was dreaming my spiritual master, that he is calling me, and I was following him. When my dream was over, I was thinking, I was little horrified. Oh, Guru Maharaj wants me to become sannyasi. How can I accept sannyasa? At that time, I was feeling not very satisfaction that I have to give up my family and have to become a mendicant. At that time, it was a horrible feeling. Sometimes I was thinking, no, I cannot take sannyas. But again, I saw the same dream. So in this way, I was fortunate. My Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada begins to cry, choked voice, pulling me out from this material world, pulling me out from this material life. I have not lost anything. He was so kind upon me. I have gained. I left 3 children. I have got now 300 children. So I am not loser. This is material conception. We think that we shall be loser by accepting Krishna. Nobody is loser. I say from my practical experience, I was thinking that how can I accept this renounced order of life? I cannot accept so much trouble. So I was retired from my family life. I was sitting alone in Vrindavan, writing books. So this, my god brother, he insisted me, Bhaktivedanta Prabhu. This title was given in my family life. It was offered to me by Vaishnava society. So he insisted me. Not he insisted me, practically my spiritual master insisted me through him that you accept. Because without accepting the renounced order of life, nobody can become a preacher. So he wanted me to become a preacher. So he forced me through this god brother. You accept. So unwillingly I accepted. And then I remembered that he wanted me to go to Western country. So I am feeling now very much obliged to this god brother that he carried out the wish of my spiritual master and enforced me to accept this sannyasa order. Srila Prabhupada accepts sannyasa. Excerpts from Srila Prabhupada Leelamrita, Volume 1 by Satswarup Das. Keshava Gaudiya Mutt was located in the midst of one of the Mathura's downtown bazaars. Its main entrance, an arched doorway, led into a courtyard open to the sky through a metal grating above. Abhay Babu entered the matha dressing in white, but he would soon be leaving dressed in saffron, a Swami. Abhay had been living as a renunciant for 9 years. There was no need for him to observe a ceremony or to proclaim himself a sadhu by changing to saffron dress. But it was the parampara system that a man take Tridanda sannyasa at the end of his life. He was aware of the cheating sannyasis. Even in Vrindavan, he had seen so-called sadhus who did not preach but simply spent their days hunting for chapatis. Some swamis of Vrindavan even indulged illicitly in what they had supposedly come here to reject, sex life. Such persons were making a mockery of sannyas. And there were the caste Goswamis also who lived like ordinary householders, running temples as a business to support their families and accepting honor and donations from the public on the false basis of birth. Abhay knew of these abuses of sannyas, but he also knew the real purpose of sannyas. Sannyas was for preaching. On the morning of September 17th, 1959, in the 50 by 25 foot DT room on the second floor of the Keshavji Mutt, a group of devotees sat before the deities of Radha Krishna and Lord Chaitanya. The deities were colorfully dressed in royal clothing and silver crowns. Abhay sat on a mat of kusha grass beside 90 years old Sanatana, also to receive sannyas that day. Sitting opposite the two candidates, Narayan Maharaj, Keshav Maharaj's disciple, prepared to conduct the ceremony of mantras and offering of grains and ghee into the fire. Kanja Krishna Dasa Babaji, Abhay's godbrother, known for sweet singing, played mridanga and sang Vaishnava bhajans. Sitting on a raised asana, His Holiness Keshav Maharaj presided. Narayan Maharaj chanted the required mantras and then sat back silently while Keshav Maharaj lectured. Then, to everyone's surprise, Keshav Maharaj asked Abhay to speak. Abhay had not expected this. As he looked around at the gathering of devotees, he understood that the common language was Hindi. Only Keshav Maharaj and a few others spoke English. Yet he knew he must speak in English. After Abhay's speech, each initiate received his sannyas danda and the traditional head high staff made of 4 bamboo rods bound together and completely enwrapped in saffron cloth. They were given their sannyasa garments, 1 piece of saffron cloth for a dhoti, one for a top piece and 2 strips for underwear. They also received Tulasi neck beads and Sannyas mantra. Keshav Maharaj said that Abhay would now be known as Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, and that Sanatana would be Muni Maharaj. After the ceremony, the 2 new sannyasis posed for a photo, standing on either side of their sannyasa guru, who sat in a chair. So this photo we also have in the temple hall near altar. Keshav Maharaj didn't impose any strictures on Abhay. He simply encouraged him to go on preaching. Yet Abhay knew that to become A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami did not mean merely that he was giving up family, home comforts and business that he had done 5 years ago. Changing from white cloth to saffron cloth, from Abhay Babu to Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj had a special significance. It was the mandate he had required, the irrevocable commitment. Now it was only a matter of time before Bhaktivedanta Swami would travel to the west as Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati had ordained. This was Bhaktivedanta Swami's realization of his new sannyasa status. The Gaudiya Patrika's account of the sannyasa initiation included a biographical sketch of Sri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, listing the major events of his life. The article concluded, seeing his enthusiasm and ability to write articles in Hindi, English and Bengali, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj gave him the instruction to take Tridanda Sannyas. For nearly 1 year he had been ready to accept sannyas. In the month of Bhadra, on the day on which Vishwarupa accepted sannyas, Bhakti Vedanta Swami at the Sri Keshavji Gaudiya Math accepted sannyas from the founder of the Vedanta Samiti, Bhakti Pragnana Keshav Maharaj. Seeing him accept his ashrama of renunciation, seeing this pastime for accepting the renounced order of life, we have attained great affection and enthusiasm. One of Srila Prabhupada's disciple, Rupa Vilas Das, recalls, we were spending a little time with Prabhupada's god brother Krishna Das Babaji Maharaj, with whom he had a very affectionate relationship. He was telling us the story of Prabhupada's taking sannyas, and he said, the ceremony was going on, with Keshav Maharaj overseeing and conducting the initiation. Narayan Maharaj was chanting the mantras, and I was doing bhajan. But as is my habit, I got a little too loud. So Keshav Maharaj was making a gesture with his hand palm down, as if to say, not so loud. Krishnadas Babaji said, and as soon as he would turn his head, your Prabhupada would go like this, turning his palm up, indicating to chant louder. Then Krishnadas Babaji laughed, as he always did, and he said, it was then that I knew he would be the leader of the Hare Krishna movement. Excerpts from Srila Prabhupada at Radha Damodar by Mahanidhi Swami. After Srila Prabhupada taking sannyas, Narayan Maharaj recalls, I would visit still Prabhupada many times while he was staying at Radha Damodar temple between 1962 to 1964. One time I went there and he was sitting on the floor on a torn quilt. After sitting down on my chadar, we both discussed the Srimad Bhagavatam. There was no bed in Prabhupada's room. He was sleeping on the floor. On another occasion, Narayan Maharaj recalls, often we would have kirtan in his room at Radha Damodar. Prabhupada played mridanga, I played kartals. He used to tell me how he was planning to go to America and other Western countries. He said, I want to preach as Prabhupada Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati had ordered me, and I want to publish Back to Godhead in huge scale and preach in Western countries. If there will be need, I will establish boarding facilities for interested people. If they want, I will give meat also, eggs also, wine also. I believe that after hearing Harinam Sankirtan and Shiksha, instruction of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then certainly they will reject all these things and surely they will become pure Vaishnavas. Srila Prabhupada teaches by example. Excerpts from Srila Prabhupada's Leelamrita, Volume 4. In Nairobi, Srila Prabhupada demonstrated how a sannyasi should preach. For 1 month, he strictly followed the Vedic tradition by staying only 3 days or less in the home of each of his Indian hosts. Then, although his host always provided him good food and comfortable accommodation, he would move on to the next place. This was the rule for sannyasis, Prabhupada said. It kept them from becoming attached to bodily comforts and from inconveniencing their hosts. Srila Prabhupada ki. So these are some of the pastimes of Srila Prabhupada taking sannyas. And Prabhupada was living in Vrindavan at that time. And there are many pastimes which we can recall. Prabhupada himself writes so many things and he has said various things. So we'll read 1 or 2 things now. And I also would like to read today, this is a preface. When Srila Prabhupada was there in Vrindavan after taking sannyas, he was writing Srimad Bhagavatam. So Prabhupada had finished first volume of Srimad Bhagavatam, that is first canto, chapter 1 to chapter 7, middle. And then after that, Prabhupada wrote another book, that is Srimad Bhagavatam, second volume of Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 7th chapter to 12th chapter. So this is a preface which I have in my hand. And this preface is not there in the Srimad Bhagavatam, either of Krishna inks or it is there in BBT, the Bhagavatam printed in BBT. So this we generally don't get to read because we don't have these books in printing anymore. So I got it in internet. So Delhi volumes were printed. So I would just like to read this, and this gives what is the mood in which Prabhupada was preaching after his sannyas. So it is very nice explanation. So many realizations of Prabhupada also is there in this. So we'll read this. Preface to the second volume. So Prabhupada quotes 2 shlokas from Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 6th chapter, text number 46 and 47. So the translation goes like this. Great sages laboring hard under the stringent regulative principles for salvation by suspending semina upwards and thus remaining naked, as well as successful mendicants who have attained complete satisfaction by purificatory practices, do achieve the transcendental sky by the name Brahman. But so far we are concerned, the great mystic, we shall transcend this world of abject nescience simply by vibrating the message of your activities as duty-bound devotees of your Lordship. So these are the verses spoken by Uddhava to Lord Shri Krishna. So he is saying, we shall transcend this world of abject nescience simply by vibrating the message of your activities as duty-bound devotees of your Lordship. Although we are moving seemingly on the path of fruitive actions. The path of fruitive activities, that is to say, the path of earn money and enjoy life, as it is going on generally, appears to have become also our profession. Prabhupada is talking about himself. So appears to have become also our profession, although we have we are in the renounced order of worldly life. They see that we are moving in the cities, in the government offices, banks and other business places for promoting the publication of Srimad Bhagavatam. They also see that we are moving in the press, paper market and amongst the book binders, also away from our residence at Vrindavan. And thus they conclude, sometimes mistakenly, that we are also doing the same business in the dress of a mendicant. But actually, there is a gulf of difference between the two kinds of activities. This is not a business for maintaining an establishment of material enjoyment. On the contrary, it is an humble attempt to broadcast the glories of the Lord at a time when people need it very badly. Any unbeliever friend, an unbeliever friend became astonished to learn that we have taken up a mighty project for presenting 60 volumes of 400 pages each, simply for matter of glorifying the Lord. So originally Prabhupada had planned of each volume of 400 books. So full 12 cantos will be completed in 60 volumes. So and somebody was astonished to hear that just about writing glorifying God, you have to write so many books. So Prabhupada says, we should not forget to remember that the Lord is unlimited. This material world is a fragmental portion of His unfathomable glories, out of which this tiny earth is a particle only. And on the surface of the earth, there are numberless cities, and in each and every one of them, there are hundreds of printing houses, all engaged in the matter of broadcasting the messages of this limited space. We can just imagine how many hundreds of thousands of volumes we may need to glorify the activities of the unlimited Lord. Therefore, 60 volumes of Srimad Bhagavatam are just the sample distribution of His glories, presented in a manner understandable by the stagnant brain of the residents of this insignificant globe. Otherwise, the residents of higher planets, who have got superior brains than the man, do go through thousands and millions of volumes of Srimad Bhagavatam to know about the glories of the Lord. Formerly, even 50 years before, rich and well-to-do members of the society used to get Srimad Bhagavatam imprinted or handwritten along with authoritative commentaries by learned pandits, and then distribute them among the devotees of the Lord specially, and people in general casually. At the present moment, the time is so changed that we had to request one of the biggest industrialists of India to purchase 100 copies. So 100 copies of first volume of Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhupada had requested a businessman to purchase and distribute. Copies and distribute them, but the poor fellow expressed his inability. So he did not. He said, I can't. We wish that somebody may come forward to pay for the actual cost of publication of this Srimad Bhagavatam, and let them be distributed free to all the leading gentlemen of the world. But nobody is so far prepared to do this social uplifting work. So for printing Bhagavatam also, at that time some around 4,000 to 6,000 was required to print one volume of the book. This is 60 years back. But still Prabhupada would not get even that much money. Even Prabhupada would approach businessmen and other leading people or even politicians during that time. Of course, we are grateful to the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Foreign Affairs in the central government of India for purchasing some copies and then distribute them to the great institution, universities, etc., both in India and abroad. The Director of Education has also recommended this publication as library copies in educational institute, and they are also purchasing the copies. So some people were purchasing to keep this in libraries of schools, colleges and universities. The problem is that we must get some money for completing the work, which is admittedly a mighty project. The sales proceeds are being employed in promotional work and not in sense gratification. Herein lies the difference from the fruitive activities, and all for this we have to approach every one concerned just like a businessman. There is no harm to become a businessman if it is done on account of Lord, as much as there was no harm to become a violent warrior like Arjuna or Hanumanji if such belligerent activities are executed to satisfy the desires of the Supreme Lord. So even though we are not in the Himalayas, even though we talk of business, even though we deal in rupees and paisa, still, simply because we are 100% servants of the Lord and are engaged in the service of broadcasting the message of His glories, certainly we shall transcend and get through the invincible impasse of Maya and reach the effulgent kingdom of God to render Him face to face eternal service in full bliss and knowledge. We are confident of this factual position, and we may also assure to our numerous readers that they will also achieve the same result simply by hearing the glories of the Lord. As we belong to the chain of disciplic succession from Prahlad Maharaj, we may try to follow his footprints. He said before Lord Narasimhadeva as follows: Prayena deva munaya swamukti kama maunam charanti vrijane parartha nishtha naitam vihaya krupana vimumuksha eko nanyam twadanya sharanam brahmato nupashye. My Lord, generally all the munis, saints and philosophers are interested in their personal salvation. They are mostly silent and travel in lonely places without any desire for others' benefit. But I am not like them. I do not wish to go to the kingdom of God alone, leaving these poor misguided people in general who have no other alternative than to surrender unto you. And this I see by my practical experience. We are more interested, therefore, in the mission of reclaiming the conditioned souls for the kingdom of God by all means, than to seek our personal salvation performed rigidly in a secluded place. After the publication of first volume, we have received many good opinions, reviews from me, and I fell down on the footpath and I got severe injury. That is my personal experience. In the beginning, when my Guru Maharaj ordered me, I thought it that I shall first of all become very rich man, then I shall preach. So I was doing very nice in business. In the business circle, I got very good name. and with whom I was dealing business, they were very satisfied. But Krishna made so trick that he broke everything and he obliged me to take sannyas. So that is Hari. So that I had come to your country with only $7. So they are criticizing. The Swami came here with no money, now he is opulent. So they are taking backside. You see? But the thing is, of course, I have become profitable, or I have acquired profit. I left my home, my children, and everything. I came here as a pauper with $7. That is no money. But I have got now big property, hundreds of children, and I haven't got to think for their provision. They are thinking of me. So that is Krishna's favor. In the beginning, it appears to be very bitter. When I took sannyas, when I was living alone, I was feeling very bitter. Sometimes I was thinking whether I have done wrong by accepting. So when I was publishing this Back to Godhead from Delhi, one day one bull thrashed me and I fell down on the footpath and I got severe injury. I was alone. So I was thinking, what is this? So I had very days of very tribulations, but it was all meant for good. So don't be afraid of tribulation. You see, go forward, Krishna will give you protection. That is Krishna's promise in Bhagavad Gita. Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. Kaunteya, my dear son of Kunti, Arjuna, you can declare throughout the whole world that my devotee will never be vanquished. You can declare that. And why he is asking Arjuna to declare? Why he does not declare himself? There is meaning. Because if he promises, if God promises, there are instances that he sometimes broke his promise. But if a devotee promises, it will never be broken. Krishna will give protection. Therefore, he says, his devotee that you declare. There is no chance of being broken. Krishna is so kind that sometimes he breaks his promise. But if his devotee promises, he takes very careful attention that his devotee promise may not be broken. That is Krishna's favor. And Vrindavan Bhajan, which Prabhupada had written, it is in Bengali. I'll read only the English translation. When Prabhupada had not taken sannyas, so this is written in the year 1958, 1 year before Prabhupada took sannyas. So translation goes like this. I am sitting alone in Vrindavan Dham. In this mood, I am getting many realization. I have my wife, sons, daughters, grandsons, everything. But I have no money. So they are a fruitless glory. Krishna has shown me the naked form of material nature. By his strength, it has all become tasteless to me today. Yasyaham anugranami harishe tadhanam shanai. I gradually take away all the wealth of those upon whom I am merciful. How was I able to understand this mercy of all merciful? Everyone has abandoned me, seeing me a penniless, wife, relatives, friends, brothers, everyone. This is misery, but it gives me a laugh. I sit alone and laugh. In this Maya Samsara, whom do I really love? Where have all my loving father, mother gone to now? And where are all my elders who are my own folk? Who will give me the news of them? Tell me who. All that is left of this family life is a list of names. So like this. So one more Vaishishya Ashtaka, which Prabhupada had written about his own spiritual master. So this also is written in the year 1959. So second Vaishishya I am reading. Generally the sannyasis renounce everything and go and stay in the mountain caves. But you, O Master, keep your sannyasis in mansions of marble. To see a sense enjoyer is like drinking poison. But you, O Master, go far and near, even abroad, to give them your darshan. Mlechas and Yavanas are forbidden to enter the Hindu temples. But you, my lord, make them chairmen and sit them in the assembly of devotees. Hindus are not allowed to cross the ocean, but you send your devotees overseas to preach. In the cities of Kali Yuga, the instruction of the bona fide spiritual preceptors are forbidden. Still, you remain here in any way possible. The devotees want to hide in a secluded place to perform their bhajana. You, however, do not accept this in your judgment. Whenever there is an increase in population, there is that place preaching is to be found. In London, you wanted a student hostel. You explained that it must be a first class. In the land of barbarians, a student hostel for preaching Harikatha. Who can understand the significance of these things? To resolve all the apparent contradictory statements is not the play of some incompetent fool. If everyone simply sat down together and considered these things, what nice preaching there would be. What is your order also, that everyone coming together should merge in your message and preach it to the world. If everyone just initiates, then there will be only contradictory result. As long as it goes on, there will be only failure. So like this, so we'll stop here. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद संन्यास स्मृति दिवस की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे।
Hare